Pop or drop for this week's episode of Raw. I'm Will. That's Brandon. We're the Cousins of Destruction podcast. Started off hot with Sami Zayn coming out to the arena. I normally do his theme song, but I always end up doing Becky Lynch's. So how I'm going to do it this week, I'm just going to go ahead and read the notes that I got. So Sami comes out, grabs a mic, starts to talk about how the triple threat is settling two personal vendettas all at one time. And he also says that this match has a mind, body, and a soul. The mind is Gable. The body is Big Bronson Reed, which had to be a fat joke. And the soul was Sami himself. He's betting on the soul all day long. Gable then comes out with the Alpha Academy. He says, I'm too damn nice, is what he's been saying. He's been too nice to the Alpha Academy. He's been too nice to everybody. He calls them failures. He calls Sami a failure. And he calls Otis the biggest disappointment on the planet.
Which is also another fat joke.
Another has to be. Sami then called him out for a match. He says, we're going to fight on Saturday, but we're both ready in ring gear. So why don't we fight now? Even though we all saw on the card that they were going to fight. So they fight. Match starts. Sami's hot early. Alpha Academy tries to help Gable, but Gable shoos them away at first. He then would go on one by one throughout the match, distracting the ref, giving each member a chance to strike Gable, to cheat. He starts with Maxine. Maxine says no. He then goes to Tozawa. Tozawa says no. Gable then puts on his own ref uniform because he tells them both to get the hell back. They're useless. They're failures. Go to the back. They go to the back. He then distracts the ref one more time to get Otis involved. Otis says no. Chad Gable grabs the title because he wants to use it as a weapon. He goes for it, misses on Sami. Sami backs up for the haluva kick into the corner, and Otis does it. Otis comes out and cheats for Sami. Otis hits Sami in the corner, which leads Chad Gable to hit his finisher move, which I forgot to write down. But anyway, Chad Gable gets the win. 1, 2, 3. What do we feel about this?
I thought it was good overall. I really liked it. I give it a pop. The interaction with Gable, at least in the beginning, how he was kind of running down each Alpha Academy member beforehand, I thought was really good. I also, side note, was impressed by Maxine's kind of character. The way she's able to just kind of like wear like that disappointing look, like, oh, I'm so sorry I let you down look.
I'm so glad you said that. I noticed that from all of them. They're so good.
Yeah.
It's like it has to be nerve-wracking to like start off Raw, especially with those people who really haven't had the limelight. It's like, oh, we get TV time. And I noticed that too, that they all just really play this like sad puppy, don't make the owner mad type role.
Yeah, exactly. Match was good.
Yeah.
A little bit of an interesting twist. I didn't think Otis would help out. Giving Gable the win makes me a little bit nervous, I guess, for Saudi Arabia now. Just typically that doesn't happen. Overall, though, I was really happy with what happened.
So I'm glad you mentioned that because we've been pretty open, and I think everybody has been open in our opinion about who wins the match, which everybody's kind of been saying it's time to give it to Gable. So that with this happening on Raw, does this beg the question of, will Otis screw Gable out of the Intercontinental title at King of the Ring?
Oh, that's a very good question. One I was not prepared for. I don't know. We can get into kind of all the Raw as a whole. I kind of got thrown curveballs left and right where I didn't really understand. Like, not that I didn't understand, but more I was just like, oh, okay. Like, I didn't see that coming. So that was really nice. I think you're probably right. He probably screws Gable out of the championship. My only worry with that, though, is do you just take those two off and you have them do something and you get them away from the title, which Gable needs the title, I think. But I guess if you take him away, him and Otis kind of feud.
Yeah.
I guess Otis can have the Alpha Academy and then Gable needs somebody. So now maybe the Creed brothers come into play.
I mean, that seems pretty likely. Or I don't know about Otis leading the Alpha Academy, but
a pseudo leader.
Yeah.
You know?
What I think they're going to do is they're going to double turn him and they're going to run this Gable Otis thing for a while. Gable will win it. with more Otis cheating and kind of run the whole Otis has turned to the dark side, and now we're gonna work uh, a slow tour back to the bright side, right? To slowly build him back into being the champion or the guy that people love. So that's what I think is gonna happen. I'll pop it as well.
Yeah.
But something that definitely was great up next was Braun Breaker's debut, or it was supposed to be great. Anyway, Braun Breaker comes out, and we find out he's fighting Kale Dixon, NXT guy.
Yes.
Not one of the top NXT guys, just Kale Dixon.
Maybe not even one of the bottom NXT guys.
Kale Dixon supposedly was in the NXT at one point. I don't remember who the hell this guy was. And he was there to take bumps for the big guy. Mm-hmm. Match started off with Braun being visually angry and verbally angry, saying, he couldn't believe that he was fighting this guy, should have been the King of the Ring tournament. And then he immediately hits a nasty spear in the ring. Kale Dixon then gets thrown out of the ring. He then does where he runs across the entire outside of the ring, spears the shit out of him again.
Yeah.
And then this weird thing happens where the ref calls the match. He goes, he's had enough, ring the bell, ding, ding. Anyway, Braun Breaker after the match isn't done, hits Kale Dixon over the head, Kale Dixon's head was in the corner of a steel step, and he hit Kale Dixon in the back of the head while his head was on the steel steps with a steel chair.
Sandwich.
So steel squared. And that was it. Adam Pearce was out there saying, what the hell you doing? You've killed this man, basically. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give this a pop. You got to make this guy look strong. Obviously, Kale Dixon, not very known. That was something, but, he's wrecking him. That's what we need it. We need Braun to wreck people. So let him have this.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and pop it as well. I agree with the sentiment. You have to have him look like a monster, and he did. There was also some nice kind of character development, I guess. It wasn't so much for me even just the physical tools, because he has that.
Yeah.
It was more so his mannerisms, the way he was kind of talking, the things he was saying, things like that. So I really liked that part of it more than anything.
You believed he was pissed about what's happening in the storyline of him not being the King of the Ring. He looked mad about it. Like, he legit was pissed.
Yeah, and I guess he gets that from his dad and his uncle, because those guys are just always mad. I will say I do have a quick question about it, because I was back and forth on social media looking at different stuff throughout the match.
Yeah.
And somebody raised a question, which I thought was interesting. You have Jade on one side that wants to be booked as this dominant female superstar, right? And you kind of throw her in with some of the main talent.
It's the opposite.
But it's the opposite with
Yeah.
Braun. So I'm wondering, I guess, what do you think works better? Do you think it works better when a superstar is able to go take on those dominant names and maybe struggle a little bit? Or do you like I'm going to go against these jobbers and just utterly demolish them?
This is a weird answer, but I feel like it's the right answer. And it's that it's different, and it is the way it is because the women's division and the men's divisions work differently.
That's fair.
The women's divisions are always, for whatever reason, whether it's booking issues, talent issues, or whatever, they're always very top heavy. You have like a handful of top stars, and then the rest are really just it really is top stars and then the rest. So if you want to make someone like Jade pop, you gotta put her against those people, because she can get stuck in limbo with the rest. The men's division is way deeper, and therefore there's an established ladder that one has to climb to reach the top, and you start from the bottom, I guess, is the logical way to do this if you were playing a sport. So that's what they're kind of doing with Braun Breaker, I guess.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see. Obviously, he'll run through some jobbers for a little bit. I'm interested to see what his first kind of main feud is going to be.
God, please don't suspend him for this action. Next up, Lyra Valkyria takes on Io Sky in the Queen of the Ring semi-final match. Of course, we get the Irish lasso with her beforehand. Becky Lynch is telling, I believe in you. Go get him, Tiger. Lyra Valkyria comes out. This match was a banger from head to toe. They complemented each other so freaking well in that ring. They were taking bumps. I saw that the entirety of the women's Queen of the Ring 2023 had 17 minutes of matches. In entirety, this was a 19-minute match. That just tells you how much the WWE believes in them, and that just tells you how far we've come in terms of what the women are capable to do in the ring. It was absolutely phenomenal. Bunch of stuff that I have written down here. Lyra was showcasing her acrobatics throughout the match, which were then immediately complemented by Io's incredible acrobatics throughout the match. They did this spot where Valkyria did like a leg cradle submission where she was off the ground, like cradling her back and forth. That was absolutely phenomenal. Ends with Lyra rolled or reversed or rolled out of the way of Io's finisher move. And then Lyra went for her finisher. Io then went for a surprise roll up. Lyra sat down on the surprise roll up. 1, 2, 3. Lyra is in the final pop.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to pop it. It's a nice way too with the finish. At least you kind of protect Io in a sense as well.
Yeah.
There's not much more to add. I mean, it was pretty fantastic. I will say the pre-match Io Sky
the video
promo video thing was really cool.
I didn't know whether to mention that, but yeah,
I really thought that was kind of neat to see something different.
Dude, we are so out of the Vince era because there was a time where it felt like he was just forcing these people to speak English when they just couldn't do it. Dude, give them dope promos like that where they're talking in their native language with subtitles for English people and whatever, and they look badass.
Yeah, super cool. It makes you actually care about the character.
Genius of the Sky.
Yeah,
Sick.
obviously she's amazing in the ring, but add a little bit to her, a little bit dimension character-wise. I thought the match was, like you said, it was really good. I mean, it's great to see some women besides the top get some time, and they produced. I mean, usually, when you get your Rhea's and Charlotte's like at Mania, or you get maybe your Bianca and Io had a great one at Backlash last year. So it's like you get these kind of women that are not maybe necessarily top tier. I know Io had the title for a bit, but you get Valkyria, who's new. It gets you to really kind of pay attention to that women's division, which is, like we've mentioned before, it's kind of like a revolution. Like it's beginning to be really strong.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. Backstage segment again, another one with Ilya Dragunov. He's basically putting over everybody who he's faced, or everybody who's still in the King of the Ring. Says Jay's amazing, Gunther's amazing. And then Ricochet shows up, interrupts him, and then bang, Braun Breaker spears the shit out of Ricochet for no apparent reason through like boxes. I know I said we weren't gonna pop or drop this. Pop. I'm down for Braun Breaker to just be running around spearing dudes backstage, man. Give me that. Break everybody.
Yeah, it's something nice to see. I mean, you used to be able to see some backstage stuff and you would believe it. I think there was a time period there where backstage segments, you kind of just tune out for a little bit. And you're like, I don't really need to care about this. But to see that was amazing. And I guess that kind of answers maybe his next top feud, I guess. I wouldn't really consider that. But you can give me Ricochet, who can do some amazing acrobatics, and the powerhouse of Braun. I mean,
or you could run Ilya Braun right away.
Yeah, I mean, you could
build them both.
You could do some really good stuff.
Build them both. We move on. Awesome Truth Judgment Day Tag Team Championship. But beforehand, a drop happens. There's a backstage segment with Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark. They're just stretching, and then this wild return happens. Sonya Deville is just there.
Mm-hmm.
She's back. Yep.
Yeah, that happened.
Drop. I love Sonya. Dude, how lackluster is that?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it happened. There's not much more to add. I mean, I understand. I kind of liked her a little bit in that manager role that she had, but I don't really like her and Pierce both doing it. And I've seen things about, okay, well, maybe she'll just come back and just manage Zoe Stark and Baszler. And it's like, well, to be honest, I don't really care. They'll have some MMA, like, oh, we're all hardcore type.
It never works.
Thoughts,
it never works for the women.
I don't.
It didn't work
I don't care.
The MMA thing didn't work with Ronda Rousey. Okay? If it didn't work with Ronda, move on.
Well, and
You
it's
popping or
not-
dropping it?
You got to drop it.
Drop it.
I mean, it's not even like sometimes you could save it if you had somebody on the mic that was really, really good.
Sonya's good on a mic.
She's good, but she's not.
But
good.
she also hasn't done it in years.
and but no offense to her, she's not good enough to make up for what she's gonna have to make up.
I agree. Tag team championships. Everything happens that you would expect to happen in this match. It was fun. JD McDonough got some good offense in. So did Finn. Showcased all 4 guys. R-Truth got his classic John Cena comeback moment. 5 moves of doom. Him and Miz did a 10-knuckle shuffle together. But just when Carlito comes out to help the Judgment Day, as they knew was coming, Andre the Giant pops out in the form of Braun Strowman. Roar! He comes out, saves the day for Awesome Truth. Awesome Truth retains. May the reign of Awesome Truth run forever. Pop.
I'm in between. I guess if I had to give it something, give me the pop because I do love
Pop.
I do love Awesome Truth.
Pop.
I don't know who doesn't love Awesome Truth.
Yeah, they're awesome.
And they're truthful. But that's the name, But the Braun Strowman, I should have seen it coming. I didn't.
This
see it coming.
This is a good way to book Braun, though, to come back.
Yeah.
Don't just immediately put him in a squash match. Now we have a reason to give him a squash match because JD wants to fight him, and that makes sense in story. So this is I feel like this is a very good way to get Braun back in. This is the best restart for Braun in a while. Becky Lynch, speaking of her, she comes out to the ring to promote the most fiery rivalry in all of sports entertainment. She comes out, basically gloats for a minute about how good she is, and then Liv quickly comes out as well. And they get into this argument about purpose in life, and Liv's whole purpose is to end the revenge tour, and ending the revenge tour could only end when she has that title. And Becky says, well, I'm glad you found your purpose, but I found my purpose when I was 15. I stepped into a wrestling ring for the first time, and they argued about who cares more about themselves. And Liv came to the ring wanting to fight, and then she backed away, and she did the smart thing where she was like, why would I fight you right now? We literally have a title match on Saturday. I'll just wait till then. I'm going to go ahead and give this one a drop again. We've been pretty verbal about our disliking of this rivalry so far, but man, if anything, that segment just felt like filler. We have to tell everybody that we're still doing this. Dude, just give Liv the belt and let's see what they're going to do next.
Yeah, I think everybody's pretty much at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty unbearable to watch. It's almost like in 2K when you're running general manager. It's like, okay, well, we've had this rivalry for 2 months, but I have to have them cut some sort of promo and just to make it keep going and drag it on. And I think everybody's just ready for something else. And Becky can maybe take some time off, even though they keep teasing that weird Irish like tag team thing.
She's not taking time off. They're going tag team route.
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Or Becky's managing Lyra in some way, and we're gonna get Lyra versus Liv at SummerSlam, and Lyra will get the title or something. But man, just give us the age of Liv already, and let's move it on up.
Mm-hmm.
So pop drop.
Drop it.
Fatal 4-way #1 contender women's tag match. I love fatal 4-way tag matches, man. They are so good. Kairi Sane and Dakota Kai versus Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark versus Maxine and Ivy Nile versus Katana Chance and Kaden Carter. This match started. It's one of those fatal 4-way tag team matches where 2 people start in the ring and 30 seconds within the match, 9 people were in the ring. There was no more rules the entire time. There was a double suplex spot that was kind of cool. I wrote down, I never knew who the fuck was legal. And there was in quote. But it did end on a high note. Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark did this really cool knockout blow tag team finisher move where Zoe Stark basically like chucks the opponent in the air and Shayna comes in and knees him at the end of it, which is actually really cool to me. So I like that, but I'm going to go ahead and give this a drop. I'm just not a fan of fatal 4-way tag team matches. In order to establish who's the #1 contender, can we do something else? Can we do a tournament? This is not the way to build the women's tag division, man. That's really all I have to say about it. I'm going to drop it.
Yeah, it was nice to see the crowd behind Maxine. I thought that was cool because of the whole Alpha Academy thing. I thought that was neat.
I'm going to note that really quick. I did say that Maxine continues to show great in-ring work when there are many people in the ring.
Yes.
No, I mean that's
So
I'm
which is good.
that's
I
not
mean,
me hating.
no. Yeah.
She's good when she has a lot of good talent to work with. She really is.
Yeah. Yeah. She could beat Alicia Fox. So I'm hoping they kind of do something with that because she continues to kind of rise a little bit. Her with Ivy Nile is, I mean, that's just career suicide, I guess. I mean, Ivy Nile is Ivy Nile, I guess. So yeah, it was a match and it was too long.
Pop or drop.
You have to drop it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
a fan of that.
Yeah.
But Drew McIntyre shows up and says that prick Adam Pearce once again did not book me. He basically did another rundown where he's calling out all of his current rivalries, but he focused in on Damian Priest because obviously Damian Priest granted him a title shot. So
Yes.
he said I'm playing chess while Damian plays with his eyelash or eyeliner. Kind of funny. I like that one.
Yeah, Drew's got these like kind of. It's about one.
I like Drew.
One per promo. He's got like a nice,
mean,
witty, good liner. Like
I'm-
good liner.
I'm a Damian guy, but Drew's work recently is pretty good. It immediately cut into a backstage segment where Gable was talking to the Creed brothers. The very first time we've seen them talking, and he told them, "Let me know what you think about my offer." I think is what he might have said.
Or maybe proposition or something.
Yeah, that's what he said. And they walked away. So we're planting seeds there very slowly. But Otis then came up to Gable and he said, "Hey man, by the way, I went and I apologized to Sammy." And Gable took this as, "Oh my God, you're the smartest guy in the world. You're apologizing to soften him up, and then we're gonna take over on Saturday, and we're gonna win it all." So he said, "We're gonna win my IC title, the Yeet Man Jey Uso versus Gunther, King of the
Yes.
Ring semifinal action."
Yes.
This was my type of wrestling, man. He busted open Jey Uso's chest in mere minutes. He chopped his ass 50 times. And I don't care what the internet says. They're like, immediately the internet went for the whole, they tallied up the super kicks compared to the chops.
Okay.
It's different. Super kicks are finishing moves. Chops are
Not
strikes.
anymore. They're not. Not
Yeah,
anymore.
well, that's
they're
what they're supposed to be.
It's
Anyway.
it's like a square and down arrow, or
That's great.
X and down arrow.
Anyway, this match was stiff as hell.
Yeah.
I mean, just stiff as hell. There was a Samoan drop off the top rope. They got Jay back into it. Gunther murdered the man for most of this 20-minute bout. I mean, just worked him. And props to Jey Uso for taking that because he was red. He was bleeding from his chest. Really good stuff. Anyway, when Jay finally got some momentum, he would spear Gunther into the ref, a good old-fashioned ref bump. He would then do the Uso splash. No ref there. Gunther would then get up, finish the match off with a sleeper hold, and Jey Uso went out the Stone Cold Steve Austin style where he didn't tap, but he passes out. Gunther moves to the final.
Yes.
I've stood on my ground with that for
Yes.
weeks, even though
Yes.
you've given so many great points storyline wise, but sometimes the heart just knows what the heart wants. Pop, Gunther.
Yeah, I admittedly, I wouldn't say I was rooting for Jay, but it just made too much sense for me to give it to Jay.
Yeah.
I was gladly wrong. I will gladly admit, hey, I was wrong on this one, and I'm not upset about it at all. I mean, Gunther, you put him in the ring with anybody, he makes them look like $1 million. He looks like $1 million. I mean, he does so much to build not only himself, but the other person up as well.
If you're gonna have Jey Uso lose this, lose it like this.
Yeah.
It doesn't make Jay look weak at all.
No.
At all. You can literally point and say he had the match won. The ref wasn't there, and then he didn't tap. I mean, he didn't tap. He didn't give up. I mean, I think it was perfect booking by WWE. Hopefully, this means we get Orton later.
Yeah, I think we probably do. I don't really see another way that we don't.
Yeah.
I think just backstage wise, Gunther probably wants to work with Randy anyway. I don't think they've ever had a match together, so why not?
how old's Randy? He's 44. So
Yeah, something like
you
that.
think 44-year-old Orton's gonna let Gunther just beat the shit out of him like this, dude? Gunther, the way he fights is just that's so great. I mean, he's won every King of the Ring match with a different finisher.
Yeah.
He is the full package star. Push him, rocket boots. Next long title reign needs to be him whenever that is.
Yeah, and it was nice. I don't want to say it was pre-match, but like earlier in the night where it wasn't pre-match. It was definitely earlier in the night where he kind of had that empty arena.
Yeah.
And he had that pre-recorded
Yeah.
promo. I thought that was really good.
He's great.
That was really cool to see. Something different too.
He's one of those rare superstars that doesn't need to cut a promo every week, because when he speaks, you listen. Like it's just he's got a mic in his hand. He doesn't do this very often. I'm gonna perk my ears up and listen to what he's saying.
Yeah, yeah, it's a perfect case of what's the good old saying? Not too little, too much, too much, too. I don't know. I messed that up.
Nailed it
here. Yeah.
Anyway, another great episode of Raw. A little bit of some drops in there, but the main things they hit on. Good stuff. Follow us at COD WrestlePod, COD WrestlePod on all your social medias. Listen to us wherever you get your podcasts every Monday, and then check us out throughout the week for our Raw, SmackDown, Popper drops, and then one bonus episode per week. I'm Will. That's Brandon. Cousin Destruction Podcast. We'll see you next time.